I'm meteorologist Kim Castro with a detailed look and an extended look at this extreme cold air that has surged south. Check out the origin of the cold air from our polar regions that have dropped the North Dakota, South Dakota area into the negative territory. Billings, Montana also clocking in at -7 degrees on this Thursday. But notice Nebraska down to Oklahoma, even the Panhandle seeing the brunt of that cold air. And the models did not pick up on how far south this cold pool would go. Then you would go to the Panhandle and parts of North Texas, but it's actually surged quite a bit further, encompassing a good chunk of Houston and even Brownsville. I'll show you how the temperatures have plummeted over the last 24 hours. But the big takeaway is that the jet stream has buckled. And so right now we're just receiving all of this cold pool. The warm air has been nudged far south. So much so that even Harlingen is sitting about 40 degrees colder than it was yesterday afternoon. A 36 temperature drop in Austin. Dallas, a 34-degree temperature drop. These areas, by the way, this morning had a little bit of moisture in the atmosphere that they actually got a couple of snow flurries. And Houston, even though we didn't have a lot to work with, there was enough a bit of leftover moisture in the atmosphere that a couple spots even saw a few snow flurries as far south and west as Missouri City. That's what we saw from a couple of viewers. Now, moving forward, there's not going to be this energy source anymore because that cold air from the north is also drying us out. Look at the temperature change over the last 20 hours, so the progression of this cold. We were in the low 60s at 4 o'clock on our Wednesday afternoon. Then we plummeted into the mid 40s during the overnight hours. Waking up on our Thursday, we were at or below freezing, and then for the lunch hour, temperatures continuing to drop. Usually around the lunch hours when we start to see a big spike in temperatures, we're seeing the peak heating of the day. Well, we've been very clouded over, and unless these clouds break, we could be freezing all day. Current temperatures right now, Rice Military 33 degrees, 31 at Bush. Look at Spring in the 20s. Jersey Village below freezing, 31 degrees. Conroe 26. It is 24 in Huntsville for the lunch hour. And the only spots that are above freezing along the immediate coastline. So Chambers County, Mont Belvieu, 40 degrees, Galveston Island, 39 degrees, but more of us than not are right around that freezing mark. Not to mention the wind gusts have been extremely strong. Sustained wind has been at about 20 miles an hour. So those gusts that get to 30, 31 miles an hour make it feel a lot colder. This is a look at the active wind gusts for the lunch hour, 32 miles an hour rather, in Pearland, 31 for Conroe. So factor in the cold air with the wind, and the wind chill value is actually looking like this. The single digits for Brenham, it actually feels like 9 degrees. Feels like the teens for Conroe. For Huntsville, feels like 11 degrees. Look at the feeling at Bush in the teens. Hobby Airport in the low 20s. Sugar Land also in the low 20s. Your hour-by-hour planner is going to be a little tricky. Right now we're completely clouded over. That is going to make it very difficult for the temperatures to warm. So you saw Bush Airport right around 31 degrees. To hit a 35 or even a 36 for a high temperature, we're going to need these clouds to break. If they break a little later on in the day, say at 5 o'clock, it's going to be too late because at that point the sun angle is low. We're gearing up for sunset time, which is just after 6 p.m. And so that's it. We're going to be right around freezing. So hold out hope that the clouds break and we get a little bit burst of some warmth out there. That's going to be critical for making sure we don't have any issues in our homes in terms of pipes. We did recommend that you wrap those pipes up, and if you can get home and just check up on those pipes, maybe wrap the ones that you hadn't gotten to. That's a good idea because during the overnight hours, as the clouds do start to break, we're going to be exposed to even chillier air. Why is that? Well, clouds allow for temperatures to stay static, so they don't allow for any heat to escape, or very little heat to escape from the surface. If we open the lid on that, then the warmth at the surface escapes back out into space. We call it radiational cooling, and so temperatures are vulnerable to be cooling off even more so than they did this morning. So we'll be tracking that closely for you. We are looking at an extreme cold situation during the overnight hours. So look at future track feels like by midnight. The feeling area-wide will be in the 20s, in the teens the further north that you go. So it's going to feel like 18 degrees in College Station, 19 in Brenham, 19 in Huntsville, even Galveston, well below freezing for what it feels like. 26 will be the feeling there, 25 for Angleton in the Brazoria coastline. Waking up Thursday morning, the models are giving us the teens. However, the models haven't been very precise at detecting just how cold this pool of air is. And so for that reason, we're tracking the potential wind chill between 5 to 10 degrees, especially for our northern cities and counties, Conroe, Huntsville, Livingston, maybe even the Woodlands. That's why we are going to be monitoring an extreme cold warning. As of right now, it encompasses our northern and western cities and counties, Walker County, Grimes, Washington, Austin, including Brenham, Columbus, El Campo, this is Colorado and Wharton County. I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service nudges this even further east, closer towards the city center. Regardless, it is going to be cold everywhere. Likely a hard freeze situation for us during the overnight hours. This is going to last at least through Thursday morning. The extreme cold warning actually lasts until noon. So watch that timing, at least until about having lunchtime, that we'll be under this cold, potentially pipe busting type of air. So the impacts include all the P's. People, if you have a neighbor that's elderly or a neighbor that lives alone, make sure you call them, check in, make sure that their heater's working properly, make sure that they have enough blankets, anything that they might need, just check in on them. Your pets need to be brought inside. If you can't have your pet inside for whatever reason, find a space for them that is comfortable. So a shed, perhaps, the garage, a place where they can be protected from the elements, from the cold outside. Plants, you need to cover those back up. And of course, like we've been warning about, pipes. Texas homes are not insulated. The walls are not insulated. The attic's not insulated. And so you need to make sure that those are first and foremost wrapped. Secondly, that the cabinets are open so that when you do have the heater running, some of that hot air can get in through the cabinets and into the piping. In the afternoon, once we get through that extreme cold period, we will see the sunshine. So that should bring up our temperatures into the 40s. Oh, but it's not over yet. Friday will be another very cold day. Cold start and the high with added cloud cover on Friday, potentially only making it to around 39 to 40 degrees. So that's a bitterly cold day on our Friday. Saturday, cold and rainy. Oof, not a good combination there. But that's it. Beyond the start of the weekend, the forecast is looking a lot more favorable and a lot warmer for everybody that's been missing the sunshine and the warmth. Watch for this weather impact alert. We'll keep you updated on the temperature situation throughout the afternoon, especially if those clouds don't break. That could potentially put us under a prolonged stretch of freezing or near freezing temperatures, which would be an issue. Tomorrow afternoon, though, with that sunshine, that's much better news. Temperatures do surge above freezing. Friday, it's another sub-freezing day. With the cloud cover, it's going to stay chilly, but above freezing for the high temperature. And then Saturday, cold rain showers, 60% chance for you to see those. Sunday, much better. Back to sunshine and a high of 60. And then we pretty much tack on about 10 degrees from there on out. 70 degrees on Monday, close to 80 on Tuesday.